A very lovely morning to all my dear students. Students, I really hope that you all are fine and you all are working really very hard as your CTs are going on and soon your UTs are also going to approach. Children, today we are going to start a new chapter from your English reader book, that is the story of an invitation. In this chapter, you will be understanding the value of friendship, the value of love, and the value of supporting each other when someone is sad. We should never leave our friends when they are sad. We should never let them go when they need us. In this story, many questions are there which arises. What is that invitation? To whom it has been given? Who accepts that? Who rejects that? So let all these questions be in your mind, and definitely these questions will be answered in the explanation. For explanation understanding, you need to focus on the text. So let's read in detail. Chapter number 5, the story of an invitation. Children, before explanation of the story, I want to introduce you two major characters. One is Bertha Sutherland and another is Grace Maxwell. The story is about two girls. They had come to Dartmouth to attend the academy and found themselves as roommates. Of course, this story focuses on the special relationship and the strong bond that binds the two girls into a long-lasting friendship. Bertha Sutherland hurried home from the post office and climbed the stairs of her boarding house to her room on the 3rd floor. Her roommate, Grace Maxwell, was sitting on the divan by the window, looking out into the twilight. When the first scene appears, we see that Bertha Sutherland hurriedly goes to her home, which is actually her boarding house, and when she reaches there, she sees her roommate Grace Maxwell is sitting. She is looking outside. Twilight time is there. Twilight is the time, well, you can call it evening time, whether not properly sunlight, not properly daylight is there, neither daylight nor completely dark. So her roommate Grace Maxwell was sitting on the divan. Bertha is so happy. A year ago, Bertha and Grace had come to Dartmouth to attend the academy and found themselves roommates. Before 1 year, they didn't even know each other. But when a year ago they both had come to Dartmouth for education, they found themselves roommates. Bertha was bright, pretty, and popular, the favorite of her classmates and teachers. On the other hand, Grace was a shy, grave. Grave means very reserved-natured girl, quiet girl, dressed in mourning. Mourning are those clothes which generally people wear when they lose someone. Why Grace was in the mourning dress? She was quite alone in the world. The aunt who had brought her up had recently died. She had an aunt who had brought her up, and recently she had died, so that's why she was dressed in mourning. At first, she had felt shy with bright and brilliant Bertha. Bertha was a jubilant girl, very jolly-natured girl, and Grace used to feel shy when she came across Bertha in the beginning, but soon they became good friends, and the year which they passed together, that was a pleasant one. It had almost ended now, for the terminal exams had begun, and in a week's time the school would close for the holiday. Now their exams were approaching, and the year was about to end, and they knew this very well, that after their terminal exams will get over, they will get a week's time, they will get a good holiday, and definitely children, every child plans for their holidays. So Bertha also had some planning for her break. "Have some chocolates, Grace?" said Bertha gaily. Bertha was so much happy, and she offered some chocolates to Grace. "I got such good news in my letter tonight, and I felt I must celebrate it fittingly, so I went into Carter's and invested all my spare cash in caramels." Bertha says that I have got a good news through this letter. So to celebrate this good news, I thought to buy some caramels. So you also please have some chocolates. It's really fortunate. The term is almost out, for I am nearly bankrupt. Bankrupt means left with no money. I have just enough left to furnish a tuck-out for commencement night, and no more. Bertha explains that she has only that much amount left, that till commencement night means till their result will be provided, she will be able to get food till that night only, and further no money is there. "What is your good news, may I ask?" said Grace. Now Grace asked, "Bertha, what is the good news? Why are you so happy?" "You know, I have an aunt, Aunt Margaret, commonly called Aunt Meg, out at Riversdale. It's the name of a place. Don't you? There never was such a dear, sweet, jolly aunt in the world. I had a letter from her tonight. Listen, I'll read you what she says." Now Bertha starts explaining that why she is happy. In the beginning, she tells Grace that she has an aunt whose name is Margaret, but she is commonly called Aunt Meg, who lives in Riversdale, and she is such a dear, sweet, jolly aunt in the world. Obviously, through the lines only we come to know that Bertha likes her aunt very much. "I had a letter from her tonight. Listen, I'll read it for you." What she says: "I want you to spend your holidays with me, my dear. Mary Fairweather and Louis Fish, Lily Dennis are coming too." Now, Aunt Meg mentions in her letter that there are other friends like Mary Fairweather, Louis Fish and Lily Dennis who are also going to visit her place. So she invites Bertha also. So there is just one room for one more, and that one must be yourself. So you also come here. Come to Riversdale when school closes. Of course, there was an invitation from Aunt Meg to Bertha, and Aunt Meg wanted Bertha to visit her when the exams will get over and the school closes. And I'll feed you on strawberries and cream and pound cake, donut and mince pies. These are the things these are the eatables which are also mentioned by Aunt Meg in her letter, that Bertha will be served with such delicacies and all the delicious indigestible things that schoolgirls love and careful mothers condemn, means deny, to the daughters to eat because they are not easily digestible. Mary and Louis and Lil are girls after your own heart, means these are the girls to whom you really like. I know, and you shall all do just as you like, means you can spend your days according to your own choice. There will not be much restrictions. This you have to do, this you don't have to do. Such restrictions will not be there. And we will have picnics and parties and merry doings galore. Galore means in big quantity. Overall, we are going to have fun by having picnics, parties and merry doings. There, said Bertha, looking up with a laugh. Isn't that lovely? Of course. Who wanna miss such chance? Who don't want to avail such chance when such delicacies are there? Restrictions will not be there, too much freedom and all. And Bertha was also happy after getting the invitation from Aunt Meg. How delightful it must be to have friends like that, to love you and plan for you, said Grace wistfully. Wistfully means sadly. Now, Grace says that how delightful it must be to have friends and such caring, loving aunt who is planning such things for you. And Grace was a little bit sad. I am sure you will have a pleasant vacation, Betty. As for me, I am going into Clarkman's bookstore until school reopens. I saw Mr. Clarkman today and he agreed to take me. You just go and enjoy with aunt and with rest of your cousins and friends. As per myself is concerned, I'll be going to Clarkman's shop and I will work there. I met Mr. Clarkman today and he agreed to take me, means he got agreed to give me the work. Bertha looked surprised. She had not known what Grace's vacation plans were. Bertha was that much excited that she did not even think about Grace's plans for vacations. I don't think you ought to do that, Grace, she said thoughtfully. You are not strong and you need a good rest. Now, Bertha says, Grace, you don't need to do that. You, in fact, should not do that. You are not strong. You need a good rest. It will be awfully tiring to work at Clarkman's all summer. The work would be so much tiring. Definitely. Your health will suffer because of that. You need some rest. Now, Grace replies, there is nothing else for me to do, said Grace, trying to speak cheerfully. Grace, trying to be pretentious, Grace, trying to be cheerful, and says that she will be quite okay. You know, I'm as poor as the proverbial church mouse Betty, and the simple truth is that I can't afford to pay my board all summer and get my winter outfit unless I do something to earn it. Now, Grace tells that also to Bertha that if she doesn't work at Clarkman's shop, then definitely she will not be able to get her winter outfits. I shall be too busy to be lonesome, and I shall expect long newsy letters from you. In addition to, Grace says that definitely, Bertha, when you will not be here, then I will feel lonely and I will definitely expect long, newsy letters from you in which you will surely tell me that how much fun you had at the time of your vacations, passing your vacation on to me at second hand, you see. Well, I must set to work at those algebra problems. I tried them before dark, but I couldn't solve them. Now, Grace says that she has to solve her algebra problem because, as I have already told you, that their terminal exams are going on. Further, she says, I tried, means she tried those algebraic problems many a times, but she couldn't solve them. My head ached, there was a pain in my head, and I felt so stupid. I was not able to solve them. How glad I shall be when exams are over. Every child feels happy when the exams are over. In the same way, Grace also says that she would be very happy when the exams would get over. I suppose I must revise that senior English this evening, said Bertha absently. Further, Bertha also adds that fine, if you are going to solve your algebraic problem, I must also concentrate on my work and I must learn, revise my English work. But Bertha said this absently, means actually she did not want to revise anything because she was thinking about her friend Grace. But she made no move to do so. She did not go from there to revise her English lessons. She was studying her friend's face. She was observing, she was looking at her friend's face, that how unhappy she is. How very pale and thin Grace looked, surely much paler, thinner than she had come to the academy. What Bertha wants to say, that Grace has become too thinner as comparatively 1 year back when she had come for academy. At that time her face was plump, her face was rosy, but now it has become paler and thinner. I believe she could not stand 2 months at Clarkman's, thought Bertha. If I were not going to Aunt Meg's, I would ask her to go home with me. Bertha is being so much concerned for Grace. She actually doesn't want to leave Grace in that situation that she herself would be enjoying at Aunt Meg's house, and Grace will remain here working hard for earning. She actually doesn't want that, and she thinks if it was possible, if she was not supposed to go Aunt Meg's house, she would have definitely taken Grace along with her to her own home. Or even if Aunt Meg had room for another guest, I would just write letter all about Grace and ask if I could bring her with me. In fact, she thought that also, if Aunt Meg had another room for another guest, then she would have requested Aunt Meg to bring Grace also along with her. And as we have already read in the explanation part, that Aunt Meg is a very understanding person, and Bertha had that belief that Aunt Meg would understand because she always understands. But she hasn't. Aunt Meg does not have any spare room, so obviously Bertha cannot request her to take Grace along with her. Just then a thought came into Bertha's brain. "What nonsense," she said aloud, so suddenly and forcibly that Grace fairly jumped. "What happened?" When she heard Bertha saying "what nonsense," obviously Grace had to ask, "What happened? Why are you saying that?" "Oh, nothing much," said Bertha, getting up briskly, getting up fast. "See here, I am going to get to work." She said that she is going to get to work. She is going to get back to work. "I have already wasted so much time." She curled herself up on the divan and tried to study her senior English, as it was mentioned earlier also that Grace wanted to revise. Grace wanted to solve her algebraic work, and Bertha was supposed to revise her senior English. But her thoughts wandered hopelessly, and finally she gave it up. Gave it up means left it in despair. Despair means disappointment, and went to bed to sleep. There she could not sleep. She lay awake and wrestled with herself. Wrestled with herself means the thoughts were going on in her mind. What to do for my friend? What can I do for Grace? She will be living here. She will be working here very hard. And am I selfish that I'll be enjoying at Aunt Meg's house? Of course not. What can I do for my friend? She actually wanted to find a solution. It was after midnight when she sat up in bed and said solemnly, solemnly means seriously, firmly, "I'll do it," means I'll definitely do something for my friend. Next day, Bertha wrote a confidential, secret letter to Aunt Meg. She thanked her for her invitation and then told her all about Grace. "And what I want to ask Aunt Meg is that, will you let me transfer my invitation to Grace and ask her to go to Riversdale this summer in my place?" She writes a letter to Aunt Meg, and she first of all thanks her for inviting her to her place. Further, she requests her to transfer the invitation from Bertha to Grace, so that, see children, how loving and caring Bertha is. Finally, she wants the invitation to be transferred to her friend Grace instead of herself. "Don't think me ungrateful. It doesn't mean that I am not thankful to you for inviting me over to your place. No, I'm sure you won't. You always understand things." These all are the lines which Bertha is writing in her letter to Aunt Meg. "But you can't have us both, and I would rather Grace should go. I know, Aunt Meg, that you can't take both of us to your place since you have room only for one. You have place only for one. But please transfer my invitation from your side to my friend Grace. And I have a lovely home of my own to go to, and she has none. Grace is alone in this world. Her only aunt also died recently. That's why it was mentioned in the beginning only that she was mourning. So please, Aunt Meg, transfer the invitation which you gave me to my friend, because I have my own house. I can go there and spend my vacations there, but my friend does not have any place of her own. Obviously, as expected, Aunt Meg understood as usual and was perfectly willing. Aunt Meg understood that and was perfectly willing, fine. So she wrote to Bertha and enclosed a note of invitation for Grace. There was a letter, a reply back to Bertha, in which an invitation for Grace was there. I shall have to manage this affair very carefully, reflected Bertha. Grace must never suspect, never doubt that I did it on purpose. I did it intentionally. Grace should never have an idea that I wrote any letter to Aunt Meg for the transfer of the invitation. So I need to be very conscious. I will tell her that circumstances have preventing me from accepting Aunt Meg's invitation. Means any excuse I'll give to my friend Grace, and I will make her understand that I really cannot go to Aunt Meg's house because of so and so circumstances, so and so reasons, and you please go at my place. That is true enough. No need to say that the circumstances are hers, not mine. Definitely, I am not going to enclose her. I am not going to tell her that the circumstances were hers only. Those were the circumstances that she was alone. She did not have any relative. So circumstances were of Grace, not of Bertha. And I'll say I just asked Aunt Meg to invite her in my place and that she has done so. In simple way, I'll make her understand that because of my unavoidable circumstances, I am not able to go, so you please go at my place. When Grace came home from her history examination that day, Bertha told her story and gave her Aunt Meg's cordial note. Finally, Grace came back home after her examination got over, and Bertha gave the invitation card to Grace. You must come to me in Bertha's place, wrote the letter. Letter. Letter means the second of two. Suppose two children are supposed to enter into the classroom, then who will come on the second number? That is letter, means the second of two. I feel as if I knew you from her letters. From whose letters? Obviously from Bertha's letter. And I will consider you as a sort of honorary niece. I will treat you as our own family member, and I'll treat you as if you were Bertha herself. You would not feel, who is saying all these things? Obviously, these are the lines written by Aunt Meg to Grace, that Grace, you please visit my house. I am sending you an invitation, and definitely I would not make you feel like this. You are not one of our family members, but yes, once you will come here, you will find it convenient for you. You will enjoy here, and I will treat you like Bertha only. Isn't it splendid of Aunt Meg, said Bertha diplomatically. Diplomatically means answer skillfully. Of course you will go, Grace. Oh, I don't know, said Grace in bewilderment. Bewilderment means confusion. Now, Bertha pretended as if she did not know anything, and on the letter of invitation, Grace, of course, was a little confused what to do. Are you sure you don't want to go, Bertha? She asks Bertha, are you sure that you don't want to go? Indeed, I do want to go, dreadfully said Bertha frankly. Of course, I want to go to Aunt Meg's house. Who doesn't want to go to such a loving and caring relative? Moreover, we will have picnic parties, we'll have our eatables of our choice. So, of course, I want to go. But as I have told you, it is impossible. Because of the circumstances, it is impossible to go. But if I am disappointed, Aunt Meg mustn't be. You must go, Grace, and that is all there is about. There is about it. Fine, if I cannot go, at least you can go to Aunt Meg's house and you can go and enjoy there, have fun. In the end, Grace did go. Finally, Grace went to Aunt Meg's place, a little puzzled and doubtful still, but thankful beyond words to escape the drudgery of the counter and the noise and heat of the city. If she would not go to Aunt Meg's house, what she was supposed to do? She was supposed to work at Clarkman's bookstore. She had to work really very hard at the counter. She had to encounter noise, heat of the city. But now the scenario got entirely changed and she was supposed to enjoy at Aunt Meg's house. Bertha went home feeling a little bit blue in secret. Bertha, actually she was worried. What if I'll be caught that I planned such things for Grace? It cannot be denied, but also feeling quite sure that if she had to do it all over again, she would do just the same. What Bertha says, fine, I have done it for Grace, and not only this time, if I will have to do it again, if I'll get the invitation again in future, then also I'll transfer the invitation to my friend for her happiness. The summer slipped quickly by, and finally 2 letters came to Bertha, one from Aunt Meg and one from Grace. It happens, my dear children, that lovely moments pass so quickly, means they seem to pass so quickly, and in the same way the summer slipped quickly and Bertha received 2 letters, one from Aunt Meg, another from Grace. I have had a lovely time, wrote the letter. L-A-T-T-E-R letter. Again, 1 letter was from Aunt Meg, one from Grace. So who is second of 2? That is Grace. So she is writing, I have had a lovely time. And oh Betty, what do you think? I am to stay here always. She tells her that Grace is telling that thing that she is going to stay here forever. Where this here word refer to? Of course, at Aunt Meg's house. Oh, of course, I am going back to school next month. But this is to be my home after this. After the exams will get over, after the education will get over, finally I'll come back to Aunt Meg's once again because that is going to be my house. Aunt Meg, she makes me call her, that says I must stay with her for good. Means I can stay with Aunt Meg forever. And what was written in Aunt Meg's letter was this paragraph. Grace is writing to you and will have told you that I intend to keep her here. In Aunt Meg's letter, this paragraph was written that Bertha, Grace must have told you that I am going to keep her here forever. You know, I have always wanted a daughter of my own, but my greedy brothers and sisters would never give me one of theirs. Aunt Meg clears that I always wanted to adopt one daughter, but I knew this that my own siblings would not make me adopt one of their kids, one of their daughters. So I intend to adopt Grace. I am going to adopt Grace. She is the sweetest girl in the world, and I am very grateful to you for sending her here. She is a very sweet girl, very caring girl, and I am thankful to you, Bertha, that you sent her here. If you wouldn't have sent it here, I couldn't really get such lovely daughter. You will not know her when you see her. Definitely, Aunt Meg says that you will not know her, means now she is not thinner, she is not paler, she has grown into her rosy cheeks are back, plump cheeks are back, and you will definitely find a difference in her look also. She has grown plump and rosy. Her face has become a little fatter and blush is there. Bertha folded her letters up with a smile. I have a vague, delightful feeling. I have a clear, delightful feeling that I am the good angel in the storybook. Finally, I have done something very good for my friend Grace. Now her life will entirely changed. Now she will have a mother, she will have a home for herself, and she is not alone in the world. See, children, how beautiful the chapter is. An invitation, a transfer of invitation has changed someone's life, and Bertha is actually one of those who really think that even a small effort can make a difference. So children, I hope you have understood the story. You will definitely going to apply those good things in your life also, which will make others happy. With this, children, goodbye, and we'll meet with another video lecture with a new topic. Till then, take care of yourself. Goodbye, children.